right, so this is still the Carmel Formation. The Carmel Formation has many members, and this member is composed of shaly limestone, or limey shale, just a generic way to describe a mudstone that is laminated and has got a composition primarily made of calcium carbonate. So you can see it fizzing there. So probably shallow marine, because these ripple marks, which you may or not be able to see, they were parallel to the crests of the ripples. They are very symmetrical, which indicates that they're probably wave ripples, and that they're probably forming in some sort of shallow lagoon. Again, in an interior seaway, a shallow sea that formed in Utah during the Jurassic. All right, this next video is about steeply dipping rocks from a sedimentologist perspective. I'm gonna wait for this car to go by. All right, so this is a sandstone behind me, and it's a sandstone of the Upper Triassic Chinle Formation. We are just above what's known as the Shinnerup sandstone. That's fairly famous. This sandstone is relatively red in color, and I'm looking at the base of it, or I have my hands on the base of it. And I want to point out that when you look at the base of a sandstone, so this was originally like this, and it's been rotated up like that, there are a lot of interesting features you can find. There's lots of dots here, or blobs, that are sticking out. They're positive features. Those are what we would call trace fossils. In some cases, you can get sole marks on the sole or base of the bed. Remember, it's been lifted up from rocks and sticks grinding through the mud, or from currents eroding it. But in this case, it looks like, because we're above some floodplain mudstones, that these were, or lake mudstones maybe, tracks in the mud. If you look really closely, there are small tracks. Those are probably invertebrate traces, some sorts of bugs moving around, let's say. And then if we zoom out, and if I can get my bearings here, and we come up here, you can see that there's a series of somewhat parallel marks. Those are claw traces that were in the underlying mud that then got filled in with sand. So the animal may have been swimming, or lightly swimming, just barely floating above the bottom, and as it moved, scraping into the sediment. There's more examples of those down here. You can see that they're grooves that kind of represent this animal's foot moving across. Oh, I'm also noticing here, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, this was a desiccated lake bed at some point, because you can see that there are mud cracks on this. And again, these are representing, they represent the cracks, that were on the surface of the mud, then that got buried by the sand, and the sand preserved those as impressions. So, fun stuff that you can find on the bottom of sandstone layers.